Hi guys, welcome to Essential Practice, our last class together, focusing on upper body strength. We'll continue our journey with core activation and additionally focus on the correct positioning of your shoulder blades. I've mentioned before, we've got different group of poses in yoga. I've mentioned arm balances. We also have inversions, headstand, handstand, forearm balance. There's many different positions that require a correct alignment and strength in your shoulders. Mobility and stability, those two are very important. I would say mobility is as important as stability. Let's start. I will explain it further as we move through our video. We're going to start with mobility. We're going to mobilize our shoulders. Glenohumeral joint, right here where your upper arm bone meets your clavicle and your rib cage. Let's try. Come to standing and grab your strap. Separate your hands wide apart and keep your elbows straight. What we're looking here to get is that extension in your elbows, lifting your heart, and try without bending your elbows, weave your strap all the way behind you and bring it all the way down to your pelvis. And then again, inhale, lift, exhale, down. Inhale, lift, exhale, down. So very important here is not to bend your elbows. So you might have to go a little bit wider apart and feel that stretch right here in your shoulders. Inhale, exhale, waking up, mobilizing your shoulder joint. We also have got a group of muscles, rotator cuff muscles. You might have heard about common injuries. Keep going. Feel the stretch here in your pectoralis, in your chest, when you lift your arms and then go all the way back, stretching. Good. Now lift your strap. Go a little bit closer with your hands. Strap is above your head and go to the side, lateral flexion. Lengthen. Breathe deeply. Strong legs. Opening. Side body. Come back. Go to the second side. Opening. It's a great morning stretch. Shoulder stretch. You can do it anytime. Opening the energy flow, lifting your heart, and then come back, release your strap. Let's do a couple of circular motions with the shoulders. Lift your shoulders up and back and down. Up and down. Yeah, it's big. Lift, squeeze neck muscles and then go back and down. Feel how tight or how mobile your shoulder blades are. Now let's talk through a couple of anatomical terms. Extend your arms out to the side. So this action away from the midline, your arms abduction, and that is arms adduction, ADD, ABD, abduction, adduction. So do your abduction and externally rotate your upper arm bones. Palms are facing up. And take a few breaths here. So immediately what you discover, how that external rotation opens here in front of your chest. Elbows are straight, palms facing the ceiling, and just breathe into that stretch. Your pecs, your heart center opens. Just feel how that creates an opening in your body, and then gently travel your arms all the way above your head. Keep that external rotation. Actually, let's do something here. Turn your palms all the way facing back wall, the wall behind you, rotating even more your hands. Our focus is on rotating that upper arm bone, externally rotating, opening, releasing all those muscles here in your joints. Those joints are complex, many muscles that are responsible for tightness in your shoulders. We want to mobilize those muscles, stretch, and strengthen. So remember, I will emphasize that again and again. Strength and flexibility, they come together in our yoga practice. Great. And then release your arms. And again, notice how that feels any different. Great. Shoulder blades. Few actions important in your practice. From behind, shoulder elevation, and then shoulder depression. Shoulders goes up, shoulder elevation, and again shoulder depression. That elevated shoulders, something that I'm exaggerating a bit, but very often because of the tightness here in your upper trapezius and levator scapula muscle, you will see that type of tension maybe in your own body. So our goal and ultimate practice is to lengthen those muscles, so our shoulder blades can rest on top of the rib cage without any additional tension here. Our daily habits, driving a car and sitting in front of the computer, they add into that shoulder tension. Great. Now, 2 more actions. I will use the wall. Elbows are bent. I will bow forward. Notice what happens. My shoulder blades goes back. They go back and they come in together towards each other. And now I'm pushing the wall, and what happens is the opposite. Shoulder blades travel wider apart, so my shoulders broaden. Again, bending my elbows. We call this action shoulder retraction and then shoulder protraction. Again, bend your elbows, retraction, exhale, exhale, protraction. Great. Well, let's practice this now in our poses. Please come to your hands and knees. Position your hands wider than your shoulders, spread your fingers wide apart, press down through your knuckles. And take your knees a couple of inches further back. The first position, weight bearing, very common pose in yoga, is called plank. So lift your knees and push down through your hands. Immediately you'll discover in this position it is so much about your pressure, the weight here, strengthening your wrists as well as strengthening your shoulders. But notice, very important action here is to keep the pelvis elevated. The common misalignment in this position is to drop and collapse in your lower spine. So lift your waist, use your core muscles to keep your spine in straight line, legs are straight, gazing down, and then drop down your knees again. One more time. Spread your fingers wide apart, claw your fingertips, and knees are straight. Now shift your weight to your right hand and turn your right foot in. Step your left foot right in the center of your mat. And then twist your belly to the left. That's your position. Modify side plank. The only thing to pay attention to is that weight-bearing shoulder. Take the right shoulder, the weight-bearing shoulder back. Draw it at the back of your rib cage. So your right collarbone, maintain that length. Push more through your right hand and go to your full pose. The stability comes from your core. The class we did last time. Lift your pelvic floor muscles. Corset your abdomen. Draw your belly in. Uddiyana Bandha, root lock, Mula Bandha. And come back. Anytime this feels too much for your wrists, you need to modify it further. We're going to borrow that chair and starting from shoulder stretch, place your hands on top of the chair and let's work on the external rotation in our shoulders. So turn your wrists out and grab the side of the chair on each side of your chair. So what it does, the creases of your elbows are facing the ceiling, external rotation in your upper arm bones. That's what we're looking for. And then bend your knees deeply, keep the external rotation, and then bow in, deeply in, stretch, shoulder stretch. You can keep your knees bent, you can take your feet a little bit further away. Lift your chest and chin, looking forward. Then bring your heart a little bit down towards your mat, stretching your shoulders. Great shoulder stretch. So again, we are creating mobility, stretching. And then come forward, come to your plank position with your external rotation. So it's your modified version of your plank. And then back to your forward bend, shoulder stretch. Very simple, great way to modify plank. Exhale back to your standing forward bend. And come forward. Let's try our side plank. Position your left hand on top of the chair and turn your left foot in, right hand on your hip and right foot on top. modify side plank. The angle here is a little bit easier than before. And then switch. We call it chair yoga, beginner's yoga, learning alignment principles, building strength. Take a couple of breaths on the second side. And come back again, back to your shoulder stretch. Great. And then come up to standing. Thank you, chair. Now, let's come back to our strap. Position your strap in front of your mat, full length of your strap, and come to standing Tadasana. How we can incorporate that movement we did into our flow. We're going to link a few poses together and see how we can open the shoulders in our transitions. Inhale, reach your arms, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow forward. Forward bend, Uttanasana. Position your hands on your blocks, lengthen your spine, elbows, legs straight. Exhale, step your right leg back. Coming back to your low lunge. Grab your strap and take your strap right above your head. Elbows straight, bend your front knee deeply. Lift your belly, lift your chest and chin. And let's do 3 movements with the breath. Lower your strap down in front of you. Elbows stay straight. Inhale, take your strap all the way behind you. Again, inhale. A generous stretch. Feel that in your, right here in your shoulders. One more. Take your strap behind you and then come back. Strap is. And then come up to standing. Thank you, chair. Now, let's come back to our strap. Position your strap in front of your mat, full length of your strap, and come to standing Tadasana. How we can incorporate that movement we did into our flow. We're going to link a few poses together and see how we can open the shoulders in our transitions. Inhale, reach your arms, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow forward. Forward bend, Uttanasana. Position your hands on your blocks, lengthen your spine, elbows, legs straight. Exhale, step your right leg back. Coming back to your low lunge. Grab your strap and take your strap right above your head. Elbows straight, bend your front knee deeply. Lift your belly, lift your chest and chin. And let's do 3 movements with the breath. Lower your strap down in front of you. Elbows stay straight. Inhale, take your strap all the way behind you. Again, inhale. A Very generous stretch. Feel that in your, right here in your shoulders. One more. Take your strap behind you and then come back. Strap is right above your head. Go to your side bend. Take your left hand down towards your mat and lean to the left. Go all the way to the left, bend your front knee, open your right side of your body, elbows straight, lift your chest and chin, and come back. Now position your strap in front of your mat. Step back to your plank position. So we're coming back to this powerful pose, plank, holding this position 5 breaths. 5 breaths. Knees are straight, pressing your hands into your mat. Shoulder retraction. Now drop your knees down. One more pose, very important in your future level 1-2 practice. Chaturanga Dandasana. Staff pose. Bend your elbows. So what is important here in this position is a couple of things that are happening right here. Lengthen your tailbone, engage your core, lift your pelvic floor muscles, and then resist the gravity. Very easy just to collapse down. What makes it very hard about this pose is that pressure, weight-bearing aspect. It's a difficult pose because of that part of strength element. You need your upper body strength to hold that position. And then straighten your elbows, come back to your hands and knees. You can practice that doing modified press-ups. So you're going forward and then straighten your elbows 5 times. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Lengthen your tailbone down towards your knees, engage your core, pelvic floor muscles, and then practice that using your core stability. Everything we talked about last class. And then if you get a bit more stronger, you can go into full plank and practice your press-ups, preparing yourself for your Chaturanga. Let's take a moment in child pose. One more thing to discuss, a shoulder alignment. So if you can see me from the side, my elbows are bent. Right here is my mat. Very often what happens, again, that same pattern when we sit at front of computer or driving, we are collapsing our shoulders, shoulder elevation, internal rotation of the upper arm bones. That pattern is very common, and then we take this pattern with us into our Chaturanga. So I'm going to show you that common misalignment in this position. Come to your hands and knees. Now as you bend your elbows, what happens? The shoulders roll forward and down. Shoulder elevation, collapsing, and can you see that? So what we want, first thing to find is that shoulder retraction. Draw your shoulder blades back. Stability in your shoulders is very important in this pose. Now gently press your mat away from you and add a bit of shoulder protraction. The relationship between retraction and protraction, it has to be just right. You have to discover it for your body without allowing the shoulders to roll forward. Very important. Very important to learn this at this stage of your practice. When you do more advanced transitions, you will not repeat that again and again, eventually leading to injuries. Okay, let's try it again. Push without going too far with your arm bones. More important, if you are tight here in the front of your chest, focus on building strength in those muscles here in between your shoulder blades. Mid trapezius here, rhomboid muscles, and pull your shoulder blades closer in. And if you're quite flexible and you're looking for a greater stability in your practice, you might need to focus more on stabilizing the shoulders. So resist collapsing and more protraction of your shoulders. Let's try that again in our pose. Bend your elbows and now draw your shoulder blades back. Push the mat away from you. Focus on your upper arm bones, lifting your shoulders, and then maybe that's it. That's your place to be building strength, or if you have more strength, go into your full pose. Chaturanga, Dandasana. And relax again, child pose. Please come back to your downward facing dog. Stretch your legs, stretch your spine, and walk your feet forward all the way to the front. Ardha Uttanasana, half forward bend. Exhale, bow, full forward bend. Reach your arms up over your head, look up. Exhale, hands down. Second side. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, bow, forward bend. Lengthen halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. And this time, step your left leg back. Lower your left knee down. Grab your strap and take your strap all the way over your head. Bend your front knee. Lift through your heart, lift through your chin. 3 breaths combined with our shoulder mobility drills. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Great. Keep your elbows straight. Very important. If your elbows bend, go wider with your hands. Opening your shoulders. Come back and go to your side bend. Into the right, side bending. Lift chest. Bend your front knee more. Exhale, come back to neutral. Resting again your strap. Step back to plank. Holding your plank. And now going to your Chaturanga. Option, drop your knees. Keep your knees straight. Bend your elbows and take 3 more breaths in your Chaturanga Dandasana pose. Elbows straight, lift your waist, use your core, pushing the mat away from you. Lift your shoulder blades. Back of your neck is long. Very hard. Pressing, 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 resisting. And then relax. You have more upper body strength than in level 1 practice. You discover another pose. So instead of cobra, that's your gentle back bend. you go for upward facing dog. So that's your level 1 pose. Shoulders back, external rotation in your upper arm bones, lifting, weight bearing again, powerful pose for your wrists, lifting your heart, tone in your abdomen, and relax. Child pose. Just one more tip regarding to Chaturanga Dandasana. I've got a prop. At some point in your practice, you might want to invest buying yoga bolster. The way to practice your Chaturanga is position yourself on top of your bolster. So you've got that elevation here. Straighten your knees. You can do it on your pillows as well. So maybe you can grab 2 or 4 pillows and practice. The most important thing about Chaturanga is not to allow the shoulders to drop down. Lift your shoulder blades and slide them away from your ears. That's the correct alignment in this position. Elbows are bent, knees are straight, and then spread your fingers and possibly practice lifting your body. Maybe 1 second, maybe 10 seconds, building up strength. Yes. That's your journey. The journey continues. Please come to sitting on your pillows, on your blocks, or yoga bolster. Grateful for this journey together. Building strength, creating space in our bodies, learning about ourselves, our strengths, our weak points. Essential practice. I hope this journey together inspired you to go deeper into your yoga practice, and I hope to see you again very soon. Namaste.